Welcome to Tâi-gí Made Easy. I'm your host, Ching-en. This is a bite-sized companion where you can learn anything and everything there's to know about Tâi-gí. Come along with me as we uncover the power of Tâi-gí and feel the heartbeat of Taiwan. This week, I talked to my friend Lai Yu-chen to learn about his personal stories with Tâi-gí and how he makes sense of the role it plays in his life. First, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, how can we call you in Tâi-gí, where you're from, and what you are doing now?
Thank you so much for having me here today. My name's Yu-chen. I was born in Taipei, but I grew up in Shanghai. And now I'm back, and I work at a TV station as a show producer. Actually, no one calls my name in Tâi-gí. I think a long time ago, maybe my grandparents did, but I honestly have very little memory of it. But I did look it up in the dictionary afterwards, and I think it's pronounced Yoksin.
And did you grow up speaking Tâi-gí?
My grandparents would speak Tâi-gí with me, and I was more or less brought up by them because my dad moved to Shanghai when I was very young, and my mom was always busy with work. I was mostly spending time with my grandparents, so they would speak Tâi-gí with me. But when my mom picks me up at night or like over the weekend, we would speak Mandarin at home.
Do you still use Tâi-gí these days?
Not really. Well, it depends, right? In different contexts, we would use Tâi-gí. Like we use Tâi-gí when we go to like traditional markets or we go to restaurants that's like mom and pop shops. So like the shop owners or like older people, we would order in Tâi-gí. My brother has 2 kids. They've all came back to Taiwan for the holidays. And when there's something that my parents want to discuss that they don't want the kids to understand, we would all be talking in Tâi-gí.
So you say you grew up in Shanghai.
Yes.
Like you attended school in Shanghai.
Yes.
So are there any Taiwanese friends who you could speak Tâi-gí or learn Tâi-gí from those people?
There were some. So I went to a local school in Shanghai, but it was a international division. So there were a lot of like Taiwanese students there. Not all of them spoke Tâi-gí. Not all of them came from Taiwanese speaking families. You know, speaking Taiwanese wasn't necessarily something that's like forbidden in our school, but it's also just not something that people organically came about doing. But when I was living in Shanghai, I did have an increased opportunity to speak Tâi-gí with my parents because we didn't want like people around us to understand what we were saying.
Well,
even though there were a lot of Taiwanese people in Shanghai and a lot of like Hokkien people as well. When we were just like outside shopping or like traveling or eating in restaurants, my parents more often would be speaking in Taiwanese with each other. And I actually found myself like picking up a lot more Taiwanese during this time period than I did back when I was living in Taiwan.
So after so many years abroad, what inspired you to learn more about Taiwanese culture and language?
I think there are 2 aspects. One of it is obviously personal. I do have a personal connection to the language. It was quite difficult for me to communicate with my grandma right before she passed away. When I first came back to Taiwan after I graduated from my master's program, she was already very ill. She had dementia. She couldn't really recognize a lot of people. And so the doctor's recommendation was like we should talk to her about things we used to do together, talk to her about current events. And these were vocabulary that were beyond me. And I felt like that really was a missed opportunity for me to build a relationship with my grandma, like slipped away because I don't know how to speak Tâi-gí properly. The second aspect is more social. There's a lot of energy in Taiwanese like contemporary society right now moving towards the Taiwanese language, whether like TV shows or like pop music or performances or literature. It's seeing all of this energy surrounding this language right now that made me very naturally gravitate towards it as well. It's wanting to participate in society, I think, that made me want to learn Tâi-gí more.
That is not the end of our conversation. Please stay tuned next Friday for the latter part of our chat.